Most haunted house stories begin the same way. Strange noises in the night, footsteps in empty rooms, doors that open on their own. But in some rare cases, the activity becomes far more violent. Objects don't just move, they fly across the room. And in the late 1960s, in a quiet English town, one family claimed they were being attacked by something they could not see. What happened inside their small council house would later be called one of the most violent hauntings in British history. At first, it was just small things. A cup would slide across the table. A key would vanish, then reappear somewhere impossible. But soon, the activity escalated. Heavy furniture began moving on its own. Knives flew through the air. And one night, the teenage daughter of the family was reportedly lifted from her bed and thrown across the room by an invisible force. The family believed their house was haunted by something known as the Black Monk. In the year 1966, a couple named Joe and Jean Pritchard moved into a small council house at 30 East Drive with their two children, Philip and Diane. The house was an ordinary brick home in a quiet residential area. There was nothing about it that seemed unusual. At the time, Diane was around 15 years old. She was described as a normal teenager with no history of attention-seeking behavior or emotional disturbances. For the first few weeks, everything in the house was peaceful. But that calm didn't last long. In September of 1966, about a month after moving in, Jean Pritchard began noticing small disturbances. At first, it seemed harmless. Kitchen objects would move slightly when no one was touching them. A cup might shift on the table. A spoon would fall to the floor without explanation. The family brushed it off as coincidence. But then, something stranger happened. One afternoon, Diane was in the kitchen when a set of keys reportedly flew across the room and hit the wall. There was no one else in the kitchen at the time. That was the moment the family realized something wasn't right. Over the next few weeks, the disturbances became more frequent. Furniture began moving on its own. Drawers opened and slammed shut. Objects disappeared, only to reappear in places the family had already checked. Sometimes they heard loud banging sounds coming from the walls or floors. At night, Diane reported hearing footsteps in her bedroom, even when no one else was awake. The family grew increasingly frightened. Then the activity turned violent. One evening, Diane was lying in bed when she felt something grab her. She later said it felt like strong hands pulling at her legs. Before she could react, she was yanked out of bed and thrown across the room. Her parents rushed in after hearing her scream. They found her on the floor, shaken and crying. There was no one else in the room. No open windows, no broken furniture, no sign of an intruder. But Diane insisted that something invisible had grabbed her. As the disturbances continued, the family began to suspect they were dealing with something more than a simple poltergeist. They started researching the history of the land where their house stood. According to local stories, the area had once been the site of a monastery centuries earlier. Some believed that a monk had been executed there after committing a serious crime. Over time, the family became convinced that the spirit of this monk was haunting their home. They began referring to it as the Black Monk. In 1967, word of the haunting spread through the town. Neighbors reported hearing loud crashes and screams from the house. Some claimed to see objects flying through windows. Eventually, paranormal investigators became interested in the case. Members of the Society for Psychical Research visited the house to observe the activity. They witnessed strange events themselves. According to reports, they saw objects moving without being touched, knocking sounds coming from empty rooms, furniture shifting slightly on its own. One investigator reportedly saw a heavy chest of drawers move several inches across the floor with no one near it. In 1968, the haunting reached its peak. One night, the family claimed that loud banging filled the house. Furniture was thrown across rooms. Objects flew off shelves. Then, Diane was attacked again. She was reportedly lifted from her bed and thrown across the room. Witnesses said her neck showed red marks as if someone had been choking her. The family was terrified. They believed the entity was becoming more aggressive. Desperate for help, the Pritchards contacted a local priest. A religious blessing was performed inside the house. During the blessing, witnesses claimed that loud banging began in the walls. Objects moved on their own. The atmosphere in the house felt heavy and oppressive. But after the blessing, something strange happened. The activity slowly began to decrease. Over the following weeks, the violent disturbances became less frequent. Eventually, they stopped altogether. By the end of 1968, the haunting at 30 East Drive had seemingly come to an end. The Pritchard family continued living in the house for years without further major incidents. But the story of the Black Monk had already spread. Investigators, journalists, and paranormal enthusiasts would later describe the case as one of the most violent poltergeist hauntings in British history. Even decades later, people continue to visit the house, hoping to experience something unexplained. Paranormal stories often leave more questions than answers. Were the events at 30 East Drive caused by a restless spirit from centuries ago? Or were they the result of psychological stress, misinterpretation, or something science still doesn't fully understand? What makes the Black Monk case so unsettling is not just the noises or moving objects, it's the violence. Because if the family story is true, then something inside that house wasn't just trying to be noticed, it was trying to hurt them.